Hello, this is Talum here. We're working on a couple of phones. We're not even working on them. We're planning to scrap these creatures. They're pretty old. They're these older looking models of phone, flip phone for example, and this ancient LG. And what I'm looking at with these is what I can harvest off of them, because one of these, I think both of them actually, use 3G for the network, and this year 3G is being discontinued, at least in Canada. So they're not really sellable. I mean, I could sell them, I'm sure, for like maybe 10 bucks. So getting into these, there's a few things that are of value, and whether or not I'm going to keep these things is another matter. The battery, often the batteries in these are still very usable. Okay, we got the back cover off. These are great batteries for projects, like little mini projects like Raspberry Pi things and stuff like that. They're only 3.7 volts on both of them. Most batteries today are usually around 4.2 volts. So it's a bit of a lower voltage. And they're also a lower capacity. As you can see, this one's 800 milliamps. This one actually still has a SIM card in it. It's good for testing. Oh, look at that. It's a tiny little guy, but that's a 4 gigabyte MicroSD card. I got a place for that. I got a lot of these. I've been collecting them over the ages. Now, the things that I'm most interested in with these is really just the components on the inside. I could use the screen on this for a project, but this is not my type of thing. I'm sure somebody out there would love an LCD panel for something, for some sort of little Arduino project or something like that. But that is not something that I am currently interested in. I'm sure if I owned a home of my own and weren't renting, maybe then I'd find the projects interesting, maybe for security cameras, maybe automating some things like watering plants would be kind of cool. That's outside of owning a home. That could be rental stuff. So theoretically at this point I should be able to get this apart. It does work, by the way. To my knowledge, this phone does turn on. Yeah, that definitely works. So the parts in this phone are very likely to have no issues. How do I get into this thing? I don't really care about the body of the phone at all, so I'm just going to start pushing in with my pry tool, even if it damages the plastic shell. Because I don't care about the plastic shell. I care about the components inside. That's one heck of a giant shield. Look at that. It's covering the whole thing. Is that soldered down? Oh, there's the ribbon cable. I was wondering what was holding it all in. Look at that. The reason I'm taking this off is because at some point in time, I'm going to be using a soldering iron or a heat gun on this, and this is going to melt. Just straight up going to melt. And I don't care about these buttons at all. It doesn't matter to me. It's not important. I'll be going into my box for electronics recycling. See if we can get the shield off. Now I'm wondering, is it soldered on? Actually, I should take this off as well. Or maybe it's clipped on. This looks like it's a microphone. This right here? Yeah, I think that's a microphone. More clips. Okay, I was right. It's not soldered down. It should come off. Aha, look at that. It's so shiny. So there we go. We're on the inside. I don't need this, but it's soldered to the board, so I can't remove it. Shockingly, this right... No. I was going to say I might be able to use that, but that's not a 3.5 millimeter jack. That's a 2.5, which has gone completely obsolete. It's not used at all. There's a lot of tiny little capacitors on this. Really small little components. They're an odd one too. They look really weird, some of them. Just so weird, shiny looking. But those are the parts that I'm interested in. Those tiny little guys. There's also a nice little button right here. You never know when you might need a button for a project. And the shockingly, more often than I've seen not, these micro USB ports are still useful. They're not always proprietary to like LG or whatever. They're used by a lot of different brands, and you can mix and match with them. So I can harvest that, and it will go in for that very reason into my parts bin. Very nice. The rest, unfortunately, isn't of any use to me. I wish I could salvage the screen for something. That's a small screen. That's like, what, an inch and a quarter in size? Maybe an inch and a half? Man, that's small. Inch. Yeah. Wow. In the electronics recycling bin it goes. The screws I'm just going to toss in the garbage. Can't really do much else with those. Go on to the next phone. I wonder if this one's held together the same way as the other one, just with 4 screws. I'm a bit curious about this one. It's a nice size screen, and I remember that these LG screens were actually pretty nice. I'm wondering if it'd be worth selling online just because somebody might want to use it for a project. But then it comes down to the question of, would I like to use it for a project? So before I take it apart completely, just for my mind's sake of curiosity here, because I actually haven't turned these on at all. A customer threw them my way and they said, I don't know what to do with these. If you want them, they're yours. Otherwise, garbage kind of thing, you know? Yeah, it works. See, it's a nice size screen. It's a big, relatively large screen for its age. It's definitely working. That's very cool. And I'm going to guess this probably get into this the same way as the other one. I think I got all the screws out already. Oh. There's one more. Those are normal, like, Android screws. I've got some, like, A51 screws over here. Oh, they're a bit shorter, actually. Yeah, they're a bit shorter. They look like normal Android screws. Kind of nifty. Ah, I missed another screw. I was wondering why that side wasn't coming out. Ah, nice. This one's also clipped on, I can tell. I'm going to leave this one intact just as it is, and I'm not going to take it away from the frame just because that screen is of interest to me. You can see as well, I think that's more or less the same. It's a little different. So now I've got 2 micro USB ports that I can harvest from somewhere. But yeah, that's really all there is to this video. If you're wondering, this is where a lot of techs get their parts from, is from salvaging from phones that are either completely dead or very old. And you can look up the values once you've got them properly disconnected, and that's an excellent way to get them sorted. Other ways to get them is from parts books, and it just gives you a whole slew of different parts. They can be a little bit pricey though, and so more often than not, the method that's used, especially if it's a very common device, like let's say an iPhone 7 or 8 that you're working on, is just to use another dead iPhone 7 or 8. Or if you're working on a gaming system such as like a PlayStation 4 or 5, you'll use another PlayStation 4 or 5, or even I've heard some people using like a Nintendo Switch, let's say, for those filters, and they'll just take a filter off of that and they'll put that on the PS4 or even PS5, which I thought was quite interesting that you could do that. But that is all there is to this video. If you guys like the video, please do leave a like, and if you want to see more of my stuff, subscribe. We'll see you guys all in another video. Bye.